What's going on, guys? Today we have a project update slash review. You probably by now have seen my updated build video on this guy, but now it's finally done. Of course, if you follow my Facebook page, you would already know that it is done. If you're not following my Facebook page, I'll put a link down here in the description and make a little pop up here. And yeah, so here is my Graze Kurai Batta, and it is finally done. It took a 3-day thrash of getting this guy painted, and it was not without its problems. Not with the kit, but with painting it. I had a couple issues, specifically with not having enough paint. This guy had far more parts than I anticipated, and I ran out of paint right near the end, and I'll show the result of that. Gladly, it's not too bad, but it was something that should have been preventable, and yeah, not happy about it, but gotta live with it now. So yeah, here it is with the Kurai Batta, which translates roughly to dark grasshopper. And of course, with the story behind this guy, it's an experimental Graze developed to try to help beat the Gundams, kind of in the same way the Graze Ein was. But the story being that its Ahab reactors are actually tuned up a little bit for higher output and speed than normal. And with that being a little bit unstable, causes the blades on its hips to vibrate at a certain frequency, sounding very similar to a grasshopper. That's why it's the Graze Batta, which is grasshopper. And of course, it being these lovely dark shades of gray and black, it gets the dark idea there. I did actually really enjoy the previous color scheme. It is in the raw. I'll pop up a picture right here and we scooch it over so you can see from the previous video. I really did dig the teal and kind of pinkish color that it used to be. A friend of mine now calls it the Piranacon Graze, and now I kind of want to do it again, but I don't want to have to buy the 3 kits that it takes to make this guy. As previously discussed in the build videos, it is a combination of the Ryusei Go, the Schwalbe Graze, and the Graze Ritter. I just happen to have some spare parts left over from the original Graze Ritter that went into this. And I do have plenty of leftover parts from this build. There's actually enough that I should be able to still build another Graze. I did use some parts in here that I cannot replace, such as the chest. That's actually all 3 Grazes, little chest bits right there to make these ribs. Which, going into the story, that's why these ribs are the way they are, because the Ahab reactors are here. Same thing with these large fins. Those are for cooling the reactors because they're that much hotter. They run that much stronger than the normal ones. So, you know, whenever you build something like this that you customize, you kind of need a story behind it, or else, you know, it doesn't really take on its own form without that. So the story sort of informs the design. Now, as I stated before, when I started putting this guy together, the only things I really had in mind was these chest blades and these shoulders. Those are what I wanted to definitely do. Everything from there kind of grew organically. Like, I didn't have a specific plan for what I was gonna do. This chest right here, totally on the spot, just like, hey, this would look really cool. You know, I filled it in. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and take it off the stand. We'll get some close looks on the details of this guy, since you can see it so much better now. Okay, come on. Come on, autofocus. There it goes. Okay. So you can see here, of course, these used to be tricolored. Now they're this nice gray with the painted yellow on there to make it stand out. But this whole chest area, this is, of course, I don't remember which kit it came off of, because there's a slight difference in just this chest part between a couple different Grazes. And then this down here, I believe, was a chest part off of another Graze. Cut off right here, flipped over and glued in place to hold all those ribs together. So this is much longer than a standard Graze chest, and of course you can see the different paints there. So this is a gunmetal, and this is a gunship gray. Now I'm really digging this gunship gray, not gonna lie. I didn't know how the color was going to look out, so you get it here. You can see it a lot better. Same thing right here on the little chest armor there. Same thing under the face helmet right here. All that kind of matte gray. That came out way better than I anticipated. I originally wasn't going to use that much of that color until I saw it on the actual device. I was going to go with a lot more of the matte black, which is on here as well. You can see that I definitely added a lot of stickers. I just happen to have some campaign sticker sheets from Xeon, Celestial Being, and then I had another sticker sheet left over from a previous Xeon kit. I don't even know which one it was, that lent a lot of its warning stickers to this. Like these little warning kind of triangle emblems here, and then up here on the tops of the shoulders. Those all came out of that particular sticker set. Come around to the back. This here and that there on the booster all came from that sticker set. These came out of the Celestial Being stickers. I think these little warning stickers came from that too. This came from one of those. There's all kinds of fun stickers. Like, I used to not enjoy putting stickers on things. I figured it actually deterred from the looks, but now you know, after doing some of the newer ones, the Origin kits in particular, you see how it works. All these little stripes here, you know, that was obviously not part of the plan, but I needed something to break up the gray of the shoulders. Originally, these shoulders were actually supposed to be two-tone, like it was going to be the gunmetal and then either this gray or the matte black, but I ran out of paint, like I said, so I had to literally thrash to get what paint is on here. And actually, if you look in this shoulder, if I can get you can see, if I can get it to look in there, you can see it in the pictures. But inside this shoulder here, yep, there you go. Didn't quite get the coverage I needed. This one's actually not too bad back there, but you know, there's a few places that are like that, but I think it sort of actually gives it a decent look because those shoulders were, of course, from the Graze Karta, and I like that. And then the flat yellow details that are here, you know, and you see them popping up here and there. That was kind of last minute. I needed those ribs to stand out. I knew I wanted them to be yellow or red. So I bought the clear red and the flat yellow paint. And this, since it's due on Halloween, I kind of gave it more of a Halloween look. I can go over a few of the details here, guys. So on the top of the head here, we do get this the nice little chevron here. I forgot those sergeant or whatever. Somebody in the comments will correct me, I'm sure. And also put the little number 1 there, since it's kind of the first of its kind. You see the Graze visor, or whatever you want to call it, painted that same flat yellow. It needed to be. But of course, I showed you guys this in the first video. You kind of have this tactical antenna here with the camera. I put the little warning sticker on there because it's necessary. Now the actual camera lens painted there, I did a dab of silver or just regular Gundam marker silver, and then a dab of the clear red, and I think that just looks awesome. Of course, you see at the tip of the thing there, I added a little bit of silver. Now inside the head, I went a little light on the details because I really wanted this guy to be displayed with his visor closed, but you can see right inside there, of course, the Graze eye is painted yellow. It was going to be really, really hard to get a lot of the internal details painted there, so I just honestly skimped on them. Of course, at the rest of the head, you get a couple other warning stickers there to match the other side, and then a caution sticker right there on the back of the head. Yeah. And then you can see right in there, the collar is this nice bare aluminum silver. That's what the entire frame is done in. I showed that off in the build log video already. But then I added, of course, some copper. Nah, I kind of wish I hadn't now. I don't know what I would have done there. Maybe the matte black or something. But, I mean, the copper's not bad. It wasn't necessary. But at that point, I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. And you can see right here, got a couple more warning stickers just on the other side of the ribs. There's another one right here on the tip, the nose. Another one right here on the top of the crotch. And of course, this is a custom crotch armor set. So this is from the Schwalbe Graze. This is from the Ryusei Go. Actually had to carve or cut off the ones originally there and then carve out the holes to make that fit. And of course, I added some yellow details. This is where I actually started with the new yellow details. So I started with just that little indentation and I said, you know what, I'm going to do these down here just like you would have for the like normal Gundam vents. So I went ahead and did that as well. Come on, focus. The legs, there was a lot of detail I did to make the legs look a little bit better. We'll get to that in a little bit, but of course, I'm talking about the shoulders. You do get some of the yellow highlights in here. You can actually see where it spilled over and I couldn't rub it off fast enough. You get a good caution sticker right there. I sort of wish I'd put a booster right here, but now I realize it probably would have hindered articulation. And I like the fact that these can be kind of down like this, you know, really widespread like this, or kind of in engaging mode like that. I'm proud of these shoulders, not gonna lie, guys. You know, because while these were actual shoulder mounts, these are not. These are the leg armor mounted up there on the shoulder clips. So I'm really proud of these shoulders, guys, because they've really changed the look of this guy. I gotta see if I can get the arms actually up high enough so you can see it is a Graze. It is still the same Graze frame. That didn't change much. Come over here, of course you get the nice gunship gray back of the elbow armor there. I almost stole the ones off the normal Graze Ritter because I like the curvy bits, but this worked out much better. Of course, the you get the wrist armor here from the Schwab Graze. This is where the claw would normally be mounted, but I cut off the barrels of 2 of the guns and stuck them in there. Added just a couple little different gray paints and a little silver detail to the tip there. So now he has always has an onboard gun in case he's not using his. Then you get the gunship gray for the wrist and back of the hand armor. A lot of guys will paint everything all the same color, and I wasn't going to go for that. It needed to have color separation, and just being these dark colors, it needed that. And of course, you get the same thing on this side, but you have the gun mount area there, which does get used. You sort of saw the weapon already before this. Now, if we come inside here, you can see I did just a little bit of detail right there and on the pistons on the frame. Just gave it a little bit of copper. And then I love this. I had the cockpit sticker there like you would have on many other suits. Now the little hoses or wires or whatever you want to call them from the Graze that run right through here, they don't go where they used to. They're just tucked up under the ribs and cut off. Those are actually, even though they look like there's nothing done to them, those are in fact a pearl white. I wanted them to stand out a little bit more than they do, but I'm okay with it. Actually, part of the discussion I had originally with this was I thought about doing the entire frame pearl white instead of silver. And it probably would have popped a little bit better, but I'm actually really okay with how it came out. I mean, I really dig this. I'm going to go ahead and remove the weapon mount there. And we'll talk about the back side here because there's lots of details. Of course, these, anybody who's built Graze, you know what these are for. You know, normally these are mounted sideways right here. They would, well, not here, but on the normal backpack mount. So normally you have just this and you plug it straight into the back. And of course, you do get all the, I'm just going to drop it. You get the thruster under there, little bitty warning sticker, and a couple of little yellow highlights just to make it stand out. And then a little bit of my favorite is dark gray ever, because once again, I ran out of paint. Then I guess technically that's supposed to be part of the thruster or directional booster. Painted that with a little bit of silver. Now, if you're wondering how I did it, I will totally just give it to you, because this is the Ryusei Go or Graze Kurai backpack. The mount for this thruster, it only really needs to connect up here, but the peg goes all the way through. All I did was cut that peg off, and this is essentially the exact same hole size. So that's why it now has this type of backpack mount. Now you can of course still use it the way you normally would. I could pull off the main booster. It'll come off. It's really tight in there, guys. Come on. Holy crap. Okay. Well, I said I was going to pull it off. I lied. It's not pulling off. And I'm okay with that because that means that is really well put together. Okay, so the thruster does still have movement. And of course, I had to go with different colors. So you've got the matte gray there. All the nice gunmetal and of course some silver. But just to break it up just a little bit, there's actually a matte coat or a semi-gloss coat on that versus this. You can sort of see the light difference. So I do like that. This bare aluminum silver, I like the way it came out because it has almost no real heavy duty shine to it versus the much glossier gunmetal. Now, if I'm going to talk about the part that I ran out of paint, That would be back here on the back thruster, and it looks like a 10-year-old did it. I'm not gonna lie. So this part, the flat black part, that was fine. I had flat black. I needed the gunmetal, and I didn't have the time to try to get to a hobby town, which is an hour away from me. So this part is basically a tester's metallic black. And you can see my masking job was not that good. This whole backside, what happened after I maxed everything off and was getting it on the stand to paint, this somehow fell on the floor, and I didn't see it until I was done painting everything else. Because I was looking for it, I was like, wait a minute, I'm assembling it, and I don't have the back. And I'm like, what is going on? And there it was on the floor. So, yeah. Really, honestly, very not happy about what happened with this backside. If I had the time, I'd probably go back and fix it. But luckily, for the most part, it's the backside. You're almost never going to see it. And when I have the gun mounted to it, you can't really tell. But you can see how rough that tester's paint is. It's so much thicker than Tamiya. I'm never going back to using tester's paints. I grew up using those. Now that I've gotten spoiled on Tamiya paints, which go on thin coats and really nice, I'm going to stick with that. Tester did not work the same way whatsoever. But to try to hide the crimes there, I put a couple dabs of yellow just to make it a little bit better. And of course, this is the mounting hole for the gun. It's just sort of drilled in there. It's not perfect, but it works. And I haven't looked. It's not terrible for taking off paint either. Okay. And we'll come down to the swords and the legs. These swords came from a builder's parts set for swords. Normally they would be like a flip out arm mounted sword, or you would just drill a hole and you had the little flip out base, you'd plug it in there, and all this would go together. All I did was remove the handle for the sword, which is here, and glued it onto the back of the normal Graze side skirt. So you can see it here, but it's actually both the handle and the holster for the sword. So you can just slide the sword out like that, and now you got this look. And this looks cool just on its own right. I did have a masking fail right here, so it actually had some of the white primer sticking through, so I actually just went over it with a gray marker and then stuck the sticker on there. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. At least it's one of those small things you would never notice. Now, as for small details, this, if you've built the Graze, I'm losing the light here. The arm is in the way, casting a shadow. Graze, get out of your own arm. Get out of your own way here. So anyways, I carved this out to sort of match the way it looks down here, plus just to give it a different look. And because the front here kept interfering with leg movement and hitting things, I trimmed that off and just made it look good. Honestly, it's one of those small details you probably would never notice if I didn't point it out to you. And adding that sticker helped hide the crimes there. Adding a tiny dab of silver there just broke up some of that gray. I'll go ahead and pull the sword off. Of course, we've already talked about the crotch. The little winglets move out of the way. They're not perfect. They have some of the same problems that even the Ryusei Go had. If you turn them backwards like this, you can get a lot more leg movement, but honestly, it's going to be pretty much stagnant displayed, so I don't need all of the articulation to be intact. Or if you just turn the leg out of the way, you can still get it up like that. Now, the leg armor here is modified. I kind of showed that, I think, in one of the build videos. It's, you know, basically you just get a dual level armor here, because the regular Graze leg armor just comes straight down from right here. In fact, that's what that is. That is the piece I cut off. I just took it and glued it to the backside and painted it, you know, black. So it's just a subtle effect. It actually just makes it just a little bit more unique. So it's not just a standard Graze. Nothing changed here or here. Just did the little bit of color separation on the ankle armor there. On the ankles, you can definitely tell there's something new here. That is just a straight up Graze helmet mounted to the leg. From a distance, I think it just looks cool. You know, just added an effect. I did have the horn, the command horn, in there originally, but I took it off and then I went ahead and highlighted it with that yellow paint. I think that just makes it pop. Just add something in there to break up all the gray so your eye has something to focus on. Then I did the bottom of the heels, the nice gray to break that up, just like a Graze would have. Now, of course, you see the major difference back here is this leg thruster. Of course, this is the Ryusei Go's shoulders, and I did, in fact, just take the shoulder mount glued it right to the back of the leg there. So now you get posable leg thrusters. And honestly, this didn't come out how I wanted it to, but I'm not unhappy with it. I mean, I wanted to do like a three-tone here with the flat black, the gray, and the gunmetal, but I'm okay that I only managed to get two colors on here. So this all ended up being gunmetal, painted in right there in the triangle with some yellow to break it up. And then you get the nice matte black here with a silver stripe breaking it up. It went like very hot rod on that, and it came out better than I anticipated. That was sort of what I was forced to do. Of course, this does beef up the legs a lot, and you do lose a little bit of articulation because they hit earlier than they should, but the way this thing is supposed to fly, that's fine. So you can get some leg thruster movement out of that, so it can be pointed just straight back. You know, if he's flying forward, you know, you can leave him down. Either way. Wow, I did not get that worth a damn. Sorry. See, some of these things did not get painted very well. I'm not going to lie. You know, sometimes the spray paint work does not work. You know. And then, since I had the original horn mounted there, I put it back here as like a spur. Honestly, I think it just adds to the effect. And yeah, I can see right there, I definitely missed a little bit of paint on that, just like I did the back of the head. And I'm totally out of those paints, so I can't do anything about it. Now, I pointed this out also in the build video. This new little bit of armor right here on the back of the leg. I did that just kind of for effect, and really I like it. This is the knee armor from the Schwalbe Graze. So I actually cut the mount for the knee and glued it to the back of the leg like that. And then painting it the opposite, you know, gray, just so now you get all three colors of gray together right there. I think it just looks really good, especially against the silver. I know basically I'm tooting my own horn a lot with this, but this is about as far as I've ever gone with a custom paint job, you know, doing 3 different color tones, doing custom touches, especially adding custom stickers, which was something I'd never thought about doing until recently. And yeah, especially the head. Honestly, I just like that head. It's just menacing. And then you get just the, you know, you get the yellow up here, you get the yellow sort of down there, but for the most part, you kind of get that red, almost Terminator eye just sticking out there. That was a weird feeling. That was weird. I don't even know what that was. I was just like, had my hand resting here. Oh, okay, that's what that is. That's the crotch armor wanting to fall off. One problem I do lose a little bit of articulation with this extra chest bit. So I either have to lean it way back and tuck it under like this. You can see how it's just behind that. Or, hold on, or I pick it up and tilt it forward and it will sit on top of that just a little bit. But it teeters a little bit, so I have to force it down sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and set this guy on the stand, and we'll look at his weapons, because that's another thing I'm proud of. Set that right there. Come on, focus. Man, the autofocus was just not doing a thing. Let's talk about the gun, because that actually is a full custom jobby. You saw this before in the other build videos, and it's basically made up of nothing but Graze parts. So, you know, there was the base that is the standard rifle that comes with the Graze, but I cut the handle off the top. This was a mount for something entirely different, just glued to it. This is actually the upper thigh armor from the Schwalbe Graze, and you can get the booster still in there. This is the tail booster off of the Ryusei Go or a Hyakurin, either way. You can still see that mounted tab there for whatever weapon to peg to it. I just left that on there for effect. This is actually the barrel of the gun cut off, moved down to the front of the tip here. This was off of something completely innocuous. It wasn't even a part of a weapon. And I made it into a secondary barrel. So this would be like for the rifle rounds. This would be for maybe grenade rounds. And of course this is just straight up Graze Kai head. But it makes a good look there. Once again, I ran out of the flat gray before I got to this. So that's why this is matte black, but I think it works. And then of course, kind of having a 3-tone situation here. You got the gunmetal, but then in here I use my favorite dark gray ever. But even though that looked really good, I added a sticker right in there just for the heck of it, and then added just that ring of silver to make that pop. I love it. Down here, I actually did this last minute. You can sort of see it. Just did some dark gray. It was the gunmetal. I just wanted it to be a different color, and then some silver on the front there. You can see under here, definitely didn't get a lot of the paint inside there, but who cares? You're never going to see that. The handles, the well, kind of handle underneath here, painted with a flat gray. Put a little warning sticker right there. Same thing on the ammo clips. You got a little bitty warning sticker right there between the nubs. I almost added a touch yellow right there, but instead I went for up here, just to hit that little dot, and then right there, almost kind of like a sight. So you can see like that, so you can sort of target that way. That's pretty sweet. If I had built this differently as I painted it, I would have definitely added some details to this instead, but it was completely assembled before painting. The ammo clips still come off like so, and the handle still comes off, so you can mount it to the arm. And it does look really good. And then of course the peg right here that normally would have a the little thruster on it, that is actually how it mounts to the backpack now, or well, the butt pack rather. So the hole I previously drilled right there, you just sort of tuck it in like that. I mean, it's pretty much a loose but exact fit at the same time. You can do it straight, which is okay, or you can do it sort of tilted, which I kind of like the tilted look just a little bit. Gives it a little more like commando style. Like, I'm just gonna do whatever. Yes, I know, I realize it's facing the wrong way for the most part, but the way I'm thinking of it, just kind of ejects the gun, turns and picks it up. And then it does hinder the thruster movement just a little bit, but that's okay. And of course these guys can turn forward just a little bit. Most of the time he's probably going to be carrying his gun into battle anyways. But I really wanted some weapon storage because a lot of kits don't come with it, and it annoys me. I'm going to go ahead and mount that real quick. The forearms, or the wrist armor, does rotate very nicely on these kits. So go ahead, pull that off. Slide the handle into the hand as usual. Like so. Gotta do this without looking. And of course you have your normal tabs. Now I did do one thing when I was building it. I kind of messed up the hole that tab goes into, but it still works. So now that thing is very, very securely attached to the arm. And it looks really, really beefy. I do like these stickers. These came from the Celestial Being, or 00 sticker sheet. I do like that. I mean, it is different to each side, so you got more of a triangle on this side, but it just looks awesome. And honestly, like, this is a threatening look. So you've got the arm cannon here, and you've got the main gun there. That is a beefy looking thing, if I do say so myself. Which I have to say so myself because you people are in the room with me. So let me set this back just a little bit and we'll look at his twin swords. Now these of course are the things that give him his signature grasshopper appearance, and of course if it was real, the sound. So these came out of that builder set. Like I said, they're pretty much assembled as is. You just get one little side of armor here. I mean, otherwise it's just one piece. And I do like these swords. Originally they were going to be maybe something for a 00 kit. I don't know. I think they were originally made for the Master Grade Strike Gundam, because the hole and the mount and everything worked just fine for the elbow plugs on the Strike. But they always flipped out backwards and that bothered me. So when I came up with this idea, and yeah. So as you can see, I just did the bare metal silver, matched it off, and did the flat black through here, and then a little twinge of yellow right at the tip. I do wish that was cleaner. That was literally the last thing I did before this thing was done. I had done all of this in silver, the whole handle, everything, and I didn't know what to do, so I just took my favorite dark gray ever, just went over it real quick with some Gundam marker. And I like that the handles are scratched just a little bit. I kind of feel like that just makes it look like it's used. And I really do like that. And I do have one warning sticker there. Unfortunately, I ran out, so I did not have enough for all of it. But then, you know, I just wanted the gray to poke into the black just a little bit, so it wasn't just black all the way down. Once again, this was originally going to be the light gray like that, and well, it didn't work out that way. So these things are, of course, meant to sort of simulate a grasshopper's wings, which is also, you know, just the way they hang off of it. You know, anyway, they are shaped very similar to a grasshopper's wings. I thought about really kind of getting a cool pattern on there or something. No way I had time for that. This one actually, you can see the handle gets way more scuffed up, but it's okay. I can live with it. I like that. A little bit of weathered look to it. And another thing I was thinking about doing was adding either gold or yellow, just a dot right in there, but I kind of like it just the silver to make it stand out. And you can see they do just slide into the hand. It's a snug fit. I'm not gonna lie, it is a little snug, but it does work. And he can use one sword, both swords, whatever. I kind of like the idea of he's got one sword being used, and using his guns otherwise. But yeah, that's kind of it for the review of my Graze Kurai Batta, and I love this thing. It's like as soon as I was done building it, I knew it's like this is it. This is about as good as it can get. The paint, it sucks that I ran out the way I did, and it's not exactly finished to the degree I would like it to be. But I do love the design. I love the way I got the color separation pretty much on point, and it's still unique in the way of, well, a custom graze for sure. I did realize after the fact I almost stole this idea for the ribs from the original Death Scythe. I didn't think about that until actually after the fact. I went, wait a minute, I've seen ribs like this before. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I love just the custom details I made. Just the extra shoulders, the leg armor adapted, all that good stuff. It's just fun. So yeah, I hope this kind of gives you guys an idea, to build something of your own, kit bash. Now it really does make me want to finish my custom Barbatos now. I never came up with the color scheme for it. This one I was sort of forced to knock out totally, but yeah. I love this thing so much, and it's definitely got a welcome home on my custom shelf. So that's it for this little review and bragging session. Sorry, but yeah, if it gives you guys any ideas of what you could do in the future with your own custom builds. I know a few people have said, wow, now I really wish I bought some grazes, because some people just aren't into them. Now they're like, this is what you can build with a graze. It's like, yes you can. And if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments. I like communicating with you guys. I like, if you guys just need any tips on anything. I am by no means a pro builder. A lot of techniques I learned building this. Let's just be honest here. Even seam lining things. I didn't mention it, but the armor down here on the boosters, those are normally separated. You can still sort of see the seam line. I did it real quick. So those are glued together and then sanded. So that was a little tiny bit of seam lining. I could have gone to taken it up a notch. Don't be afraid to cut things, Don't be afraid to sand things down. One thing you can always do, you can always take away. Adding is a little harder, but you can do it. So, alright guys, I will talk to you next time, and remember to always keep on building.